We can come back together on a regular basis. Like, okay, are we still aligned with what this goal is?
Do we both still have the same goal?
Because things change, like life happens, different situations happen. I remember like when my brother passed away, I had visions of goals of what I wanted to create. And then when he died, like everything shifted for me. I didn't want to be in the workforce anymore. If I were just to quit and just go, okay, I'm out, I'm done, without talking to you first, like that would completely interrupt our goals. How has it benefited us to be able to have our shared dreams? In past cases, we've done it individually, where we've been in different trainings and different things where we've been able to think about what our goals are. But I think for me, the biggest thing that having a shared vision has helped us to do is to be aligned.
Absolutely. I mean, being aligned is huge in marriage. If you have different goals than what I have, and I have different goals than what you have, then it really is something that's pulling us apart from each other. Whereas if we have a shared vision, then that means that we can be thinking about the same things and striving and driving towards those same things.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the other thing too is having less time wasted. Like for instance, I know in some cases, like we've been trying to accomplish something, but we've done it on our own instead of collaborating. And so then instead of doing it together, we've been spending the same amount of time on the same thing, like doing research on something specific or whatever, where it's like you could have been researching it and I could have been doing something else, or vice versa, instead of us both trying to do, and I think that it can work that way sometimes, but I think there is definitely time wasted when we're not collaborating. Like if we are talking about it saying, hey, I'm going to look at this website, or I'm going to look at this, something that we've been looking at is properties recently. And because we're thinking of our future as far as what we want to do with this business and how we want to grow and whatnot. And that does include property that we can use for retreats and lots of different multi-use type of property. And so if you are looking at one direction and I'm looking another, then we can then, come back and collaborate that way. But if we're just looking at the same things and learning the same information, and that doesn't help us. So I think the other thing too is about mitigating unmet expectations. And now we have to take a side note on that as far as expectations, because we have really learned the difference between what an expectation is and what an agreement is.
That is something that has been very, very powerful for us in learning how to make agreements as opposed to expecting things or whatever.
Because most of your marriage, you're going to be feeling like your expectations are unmet, and it usually comes down to a lack of communication.
It's really great and important to recognize what our own vision is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So taking a look at what our vision is individually in the areas of career, family, travel, personal development, contributing to society, whatever it may be, thinking about those things. Because if you don't have an idea what it is that you want, then how are you going to share? And how do you know it's something that you want to agree to? It's one thing to be a pushover. And I'm not sure I'm not sure that is a great option for a relationship, because in the end, I think that being a pushover means that some of your dreams are not going to get met.
Right. They're not even spoken, right? Because
exactly.
If you're just doing whatever.
So really important to kind of, figure out what they are individually.
Yeah.
Then once you've determined what they are, go ahead and move forward, talk about them, share, what is it that the interests and values and passions, how can those be integrated into that dream or that vision? Then you collaboratively define the shared vision as to what it is that you want. So for example, the other day, I didn't really even want to talk about property on here, but we are looking a little bit. Right now it's more dreaming, right?
Sure.
But as we were talking about it, we started talking about what things were important and why certain things were important. And I hadn't really shared a whole lot at that point. We just kind of had looked at this piece of property that Melanie's family had available. It's a great little property, but more than anything, that property is not great for any of the needs that we have. You know, if we want to raise cattle,
Maybe
which
like,
we don't,
sorry, we're not farmers.
you know,
Not our
no
life.
harm or no slight against anybody who does
I have
want
an
to do
amazing
that.
family that's their life, and I love it, and
But
I love
definitely,
it for them, but it is not our life.
so when we were talking about those things, I was like, you know, this is a great property, but has nothing to do with anything we would want necessarily for now.
Yeah.
So, you know, things that we can do to collaborate and share is brainstorm, create a vision board individually, and then combine it together, which we've done, journaling, and then doing other things like that that would make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. I love, one of my favorite things is the vision boards that we've created, and to see some of those things come to fruition over the years. Like I'm a very visual person, so having a vision board makes a big difference for me. I think for us, the number one benefit is, number one, that we are moving towards the same goal at the same time, that we are putting that effort in, and that we have something to talk about too, that we can make sure our efforts, and that we can come back together on a regular basis. Like, okay, are we still aligned with what this goal is? And
do we both still have the same goal?
Because things change, like life happens, different situations happen. I remember, like, when my brother passed away, I had visions and goals of what I wanted to create. And then when he died, like, everything shifted for me. And it was like, no, it was time for me to come home. I didn't want to be in the workforce anymore. And so things change, right? And being able to be flexible and to dance with that, but also staying in communication. Because if I were just to quit and just go, okay, I'm out, I'm done, without talking to you first, like, that would completely interrupt our, goals or whatever.
For sure.
Make sure that that communication stays, or that both needs are being met.
Well, and how many couples have we met that they don't talk about those dreams for their business? Because it's like, the person who's the business owner is moving forward, but their spouse doesn't know anything about what they're doing. And what we found is that when both parties know, even though the one isn't in the business, if he or she knows what's going on, like, they can support and foster love and companionship and all of the things.
Support too, because if you know,
that's the first thing I say.
Because if you know that, like, I know in some situations, multiple situations that I've had, that we've had people confide in us in this, is that the entrepreneur is, so focused and going after the dream, but it's not the same passion, and the spouse is not in alignment with that, and it can create a wedge in their relationship, because it's like, because they're not sold into this vision, this dream, and so they're like, oh yeah, okay, go do your thing, like, yeah, I support you doing your thing. But when it comes down to, wait, I have some needs over here, and there's not an understanding of what this vision and what that means, what that time commitment is, and things like that over here in the vision, it creates a huge distance and disconnect and discontent
and
in the relationship. Yeah. And so it makes it really, really challenging. So we encourage you to make sure that you are sharing your dreams with each other, so that you can both be on the same page and moving towards those dreams together, because this is about a long-term relationship and a long-term success in your business. We want you to be able to have that dance, that movement, that excitement, that rhythm, in being able to capture the energy that you have, to have that. Because I know for me that when I was the soulpreneur and you were working, that when you were breathing belief into me, because let's be real, like, being an entrepreneur is hard, that you get knocked around, you have so much weight and responsibilities in all the different aspects of growing a business. And when you come home and you're fighting a battle against that, like, all the hard things that come with that, versus having someone that say, hey, I believe in you and I know you can do this, that changes everything. And being a soft place to land for that spouse is really huge.
Just remember, go to the link that we'll provide in a little bit, which gives you the access to the pathway of peace.
It's a framework to be able to help you navigate conflict in your relationships. And this can work whether it's your companionship in your marriage or any other relationship that you're dealing with. It is a true pathway to have the responsibility to take that accountability and to foster peace in your relationships. So we'd love for you to experience that, and then also give us feedback on what it is that you're learning from that in participating and using that in your own relationships.
Absolutely.